Evening all. How we all doing? Another week has gone by and it's safe to say it's been another week filled with controversy, filled with news, and we're going to try and give it all to you here today. So, if you have been enjoying this type of video, they're going to be going out every Tuesday. Leave a like, subscribe if you are enjoying it, and then make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss any of our upcoming podcasts with the likes of Taylor Castro, The Crooks, and many, many more. But yeah, we've got loads of exciting stuff on the way, so do please subscribe and let's get into it. So Spotify's been in the news recently with Blair drummer David Rowntree coming out. If you didn't see this article, it's over on BBC News. It's an absolute fantastic read about how music streaming hits songwriters and artists. And this is something I spoke to Jamie Pollock about on our most recent podcast. Yeah, that's the thing, what you just mentioned about royalties and stuff, like streaming services offer very little.
It's killed it, mate. Absolutely killed it. And the thing is, I mean, I'm going to contradict myself because I listen to music on Spotify myself. I'm on Spotify all the time. If I like a band enough, I'll go and buy their record. I'll go and buy a vinyl, and then I'll use the little digital card that you get in it to download the album off the iTunes or whatever. But the majority of the time, I'm on Spotify, so I'm part of the problem. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a weird one, isn't it? It's just so easy nowadays to just jump onto one of these Spotify's, Deezer's, Tidal, whatever you listen to. It's easy to just jump on there and just instantly listen to people's music. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, you'd have to hear it on the radio and then actually have to go and get off your arse and go to the shop and buy it. You know what I mean?
And basically, what we were talking about was how streaming services have saturated the market. So for a band nowadays, you can pay £20 and your music gets distributed out everywhere. No questions asked. And he was saying 10 years ago, if you were on Spotify, you're doing something right because it was unique. You know, not many people were out there on Spotify, but whereas now everyone is. And the way bands make money now is from touring and merch sales, vinyl, and physical album sales. Very much how it was, back in the day. But when I've got the figures which I'm going to give to you, and unfortunately I can't find them in pounds, it's in US dollars, but we can do like a rough translation. But yeah, so yeah, streaming has essentially ruined the market, I suppose, and like I was speaking to Jamie about, we're hypocrites because we use Spotify, we use Apple Music, we don't go out and buy vinyl, we don't go out and buy CDs anymore, we barely listen to the radio anymore. And there's two, I suppose, challenges which come with this for new bands. How do you get discovered? Because everyone's just listening to their own playlists. No one's going out and discovering new artists. So it's very difficult in such a saturated market to get your name out there. And secondly, how are you supposed to make a living from music these days? You can't really unless you are touring. And obviously with the way the world is at the moment, who can? And when we spoke about 2 weeks ago, PRS, where they were going to be charging for live streams, which were absolutely ridiculous, by the way, and they have overturned that decision. But I was like, that was the only way bands were getting income. And but let's just read some of these figures out. And like I said, unfortunately, it is in what am I saying? Is in dollars, but so the US minimum monthly wage is $1,472, which seems about right because the minimum wage, if you're my age in the 21 to 24 bracket, is about 1,300 quid before tax. So to earn minimum wage of $1,400 or £1,300 on YouTube, you would have to stream a song or have your song be streamed 2.1 million times. On Spotify, you would need it to be streamed 336,000 times. On Apple Music, 200,000 times. And on Google, 217,000 times. So basically what that's telling me is that unless you're a massive, massive artist, you can't make a living from streaming. And this is a major problem. And the most frustrating thing about this is, as we just saw, Spotify pay 0.00437 cent per stream, which isn't, what's that? Not even half a penny. And it's absolutely outrageous when you take into account their annual income. In the third quarter of 2020, Spotify generated revenue of over 1.98 billion euros, which is about 1.8 billion pounds. 1.8 billion pounds. 1.8 billion pounds. Meanwhile, artists are having to have their music streamed 300,000 times to earn the minimum wage. Now let's take into account the fact that bands aren't just one person. They need to do that times 4 or times 5. So they need to have 1 million streams for each member to earn minimum wage. And you're telling me that Spotify has helped the industry. You're telling me that streaming services have helped the music industry. Because it's convenient. Convenience comes at a price. And that price is that there's no money in streaming. There's no money in the music industry anymore. And this is going to, we may not see it now, but in 15, 20 years' time, this is going to be a major, major problem. How a company is making, well, that's a quarter, so they're making about 7 to 8 billion pounds a year, and they can't pay their artists who bring people to the platform. You know, that is this in any other industry would be illegal, but that's just the way it is, to quote Tupac. But yeah, another week. Another positive video from Talk Today. This is what we do. We're so positive. We're so upbeat. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think about streaming services and how they are ruining the music industry. There's not really music in the... They're not ruining the quality of the music, but they are ruining the money involved. And is it going to, you know... What's the opposite of encourage? Discourage? It's going to discourage bands from going and making music because they can't do it for a living. And when we speak to bands on the podcast, their dream, I suppose most of them, is that they can make a living out of music. And that is going to be so difficult. With this, they need to change it. Something has changed, especially when you take into account like Joe Rogan just got a multi-million-pound contract for his podcast. Yeah, he brings in a lot of people, but he doesn't bring in 2 billion a quarter, does he? No. That's that for today's video. Let me know what you think about streaming services. Are they unfair? Should musicians be paid more? Let me know. Leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you same time next week. Cheers.